Some of what we saw there, and wow comes to mind here. 21-0 feels like game wrapped. Eagles putting their foot down in the first half, but something changed, Mac. Something completely flipped on its head. I don't know if it was more balls to George Pickens. I don't know if it was something that was said at halftime. What did you see that changed in this game?
They got number 3 involved. George Pickens has become the wide receiver 1 for the Dallas Cowboys. And it's okay. It's okay. I understand CeeDee Lamb has owned that role for a long, long time. But right now, as we see it today in terms of the rhythm, the accuracy, and the chemistry that he has established with Dak Prescott, George Pickens is wide receiver 1. And when they got Georgie Porgy going, the offense went. 9 receptions for 146 and a touchdown on 9 targets. Man. That's 100% completion rate when Dak Prescott threw the football to Georgie Porgy.
Anywhere in here.
Right. Anywhere.
Some of those were not easy catches.
Exactly. And some of those he was defended by 2 guys, willing and capable defenders for the Philadelphia Eagles. That was the easiest recipe in terms of the turnaround to answer Joe's question. And if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you are so thankful that George Pickens is a part of your team because he is a legit alpha.
Yeah.
He can do damage anywhere in the offensive formation, and he does so with a smooth nature. He just glides. We talked about the win last week against the Raiders and how this could, kind of jumpstart some positive momentum for their playoff lives. And we said we needed to see them do it again. It was a bit ugly and scary at times, but you said 24 unanswered? How many?
Yep.
24 unanswered.
So, but here's the other thing. Not just 24 unanswered. Dak Prescott threw an interception in the red zone.
Yeah.
Brandon Aubrey missed
a field goal.
Yeah.
Missed a field goal.
Yep. Turbine fumble going into scoring area.
So this, for me, is about a lot more. We're going to have another week about Eagles offense conversation. I understand and I want to respect what George Pickens just did in the Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be another week where we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles offense because the first quarter, what were they doing? They were getting A.J. Brown involved. They were listening to what A.J. Brown had been saying. They were listening to what everyone out there in the media and their fan base had been talking about. We're going to feed him the ball. We're going to get the offense going. And then the offense completely stalled. They rushed this football, I think, 18 times tonight.
Saquon had 22 yards.
22 yards. For so long, yes, A.J. Brown wasn't getting his. He was not putting up Hall of Fame numbers. You know what they were doing? They were winning. They were winning. They were not blowing games like this up 21. And when it was 21-7, we all, 4 of us, we looked at each other. We said, man, the Eagles should be up by more than just 14 points.
Feels like a door is being left open.
And then the Cowboys weren't capitalizing. Dak Prescott turning the football over, Brandon Aubrey missing. They had no business, the Dallas Cowboys, winning this game. And I should say, the Philadelphia Eagles had no business losing this game. This is going to be all about the Philadelphia offense this week.
A lot there that I want to get into, Emery. I want to come to you here on just like the vibe in the room type thing for the Eagles because it's a quick turnaround Black Friday game against the Chicago Bears. You can't spend too much time licking the wounds off this one, but you got to troubleshoot some stuff. And to JJ's point, might get even louder because A.J. Brown now has a case study to say, I am the reason why.
Right, because at the end of the day, we saw them not be able to dominate the point of attack on both sides of the ball. The Dallas Cowboys ran the ball rather well. We saw the defensive line of the Dallas Cowboys shut down Saquon Barkley at 2.2 yards a carry. He had 10 carries for those 22 yards, and they adjusted and they took away the passing game because Jalen Hurts was super crisp in the first half. So now when you look at what Chicago brings to the table, the pass rush comes in waves, their ability to play fast on both sides of the ball. The Eagles are more methodical in their approach on both sides of the ball. Their secondary gave up a lot of big plays. So if you're Caleb Williams in that passing game, you're looking like, wow, well, we have an opportunity to make some big plays against this secondary because they haven't found a way to consistently get pressure. But we talked about this last week when the Cowboys played. It was like they're going to get better defensively each and every week because you got Quentin Williams in there now. He had a sack today. You had Shuvon Ruvell, 2 solo stops at cornerback. You had DeMarvion Overshown, 4 solo stops at linebacker. So
Osa had a sack.
Osa had a sack. So now the defense that was a legit liability has now caught up to the offense. And this was the type of game the Cowboys usually lose.
Usually would lose.
And so they found a way to win despite not playing their best game possible, which is a scary sign come down the way.
They're rounding into form at the right time. And Doesn't feel like there's a lot of time to waffle right now for the Cowboys yet, and still, you get this big win, you take a step closer to being actually in that playoff conversation. For the Eagles, it's another divisional loss. Their last loss coming to the New York Giants, and now one here to the Dallas Cowboys. You sometimes look for that come to Jesus moment as a team, Mac. Can this serve as that for an Eagles team that we know is supremely talented? And talk to me about what's going on up front, because the Saquon Barkley's numbers are head scratchers.
Yes.
He came into this week averaging 66 yards for each game.
Yeah.
He was averaging 125 a year ago. What is the issue right now? How much is up front? How much is maybe just a moment of hesitation for Saquon?
Well, injuries clearly have played a part. You know, Juergens missed time. Lane Johnson didn't participate today. So they're dealing with injury. Landon Dickerson has been in and out of the lineup also. So clearly the continuity that we saw in 2024 hasn't been there in 2025, and that has played a significant role in the Saquon Barkley not looking like the Saquon Barkley that we saw in 2024. Heck, right now, Saquon Barkley isn't looking like the New York Giants Saquon Barkley. When you look at all the issues they had on their offensive line, he still gave you some things in spurts, right? And I think to Emery's point, I think this is a lot to do about the Eagles and what they're not doing offensive line-wise, but this also has a lot to do with the Cowboys and the new moves they've made to shore up their interior. When you bring in guys like Quentin Williams along with Kenny Clark, who you already had with Osa, you're trying to get better in the interior. When you bring in a guy like Logan Wilson, a 3-down linebacker, you're trying to improve in the run element because those guys help the guys in the secondary play better. And when you look at the issues offensively, the block, the missed field goal, the fumble, the interception, usually the defense for the Cowboys would fold.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fold like a napkin, right? But what they did, they bowled it back up, and they gave their offense the necessary possessions to win this ball game. Remember I used to always say with the Cowboys, all you need to do is get 4 stops defensively. They can get those easily now.
Yeah.
Now they're getting more, which could be a scary sign for this team if they get a legit shot to get into the playoffs.
You wonder in that NFC if it is too little too late. 10, maybe 11 is going to be the going rate there, not just for divisions, but for the wild card with what you see going on in the North and elsewhere. You got to win each and every one of them. It's come from behind 24 unanswered. What matches the largest comeback victory in franchise history for Dallas. We talk about the short week for the Eagles, even shorter for the Dallas Cowboys who play on Thanksgiving, JJ.
Not just they play on Thanksgiving. Let's consider the opponent. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you were watching on Sunday afternoon, you were saying, oh boy, this Thursday game, the Chiefs are going to lose to the Colts. Obviously, the Cowboys are going to lose to the Eagles. What are these teams going to be playing for?
Everything.
And now, we truly, I mean, of course, we were already going to tune in on CBS on Thanksgiving Day. There's no doubt about it.
Who else?
But now everybody's tuning in
different, right?
on this one. And so I absolutely cannot wait for this. And I think that you guys make a fantastic point about this defense. Obviously, it has gotten better because it could not get worse, but it has gotten better because of the additions that they've made there. They're already gelling. They're congealing. And even the pieces that were there, it's not just those guys, but being in Matt Eberflus's defense and understanding sort of the nuances took those guys a little bit. And even the guys who have been there are figuring it out. So the Cowboys can be scary down the stretch here.
When we looked at that 3-game stretch coming off of last week's game that they won, it was like they have the Chiefs, they have the Eagles, and they have someone else. It was like if they can get 2 out of the 3 or 1 out of the 3, the back end of outside of those 3 games look rather delicious for the Cowboys. But this was the first one of many. And you have to like their matchup against Kansas City.
So the 3-game stretch is Philly, Kansas City, and Detroit.
Boom. There's your lane to get into the mix.
Yeah. And 2-1, I think, would be serviceable. But if you look at the Cowboys